So welcome, and we're going to start with a few minutes of a drill with Bapdada. So it's words spoken in that awake space, and Drishti, the soul conscious vision. So enjoy, and we'll meet back in a few minutes.
एक सेकंड में अपने पूर्वज स्टेज पे आए। परम धाम निवासी बाप के साथ साथ लाइट हाउस पर विश्व को लाइट दे सकते हो। तो एक सेकंड में सभी चारों ओर देश विदेश में सुनने वाले, देखने वाले
So happy to have this focus for the mind. And yesterday, this was a big subject, and having a clear mission analogy of the sinking boat. I'd like to share something that was shared with me by a close relative when I was a child, and it was nothing matters very much and very little matters at all. It was actually my granddad, but he forgets. He's forgotten that he said it. And at the time, it actually helped a lot in a limited way, because there was always something to worry about as we can get into this. But at the spiritual level, the main mission of freeing souls and reminding them the primary mission that all are safe behind the curtains of the story. And it would be lovely to hear your reflections on the homework of the seed stage, the seed region, and being a lighthouse. And happy to hear questions as well. And we're going to be joined later by Sister Gentiben. And after that, we'll share the details of the next retreat. Before that, looking forward to this last session. So warm welcome, and over to Prashant.
Thank you.
Good morning.
And hello and good morning again. Yeah, you heard that later on we will be connecting to London, and we'll meet Sister Jayanti from London. Right now, let us come to our experience of the lighthouse and seed region. As we understand, the basic first step we need for this is the right instruments. We mean by this, intellect. We all have it, but we have to use it. Because the moment we use paras, we are seeing things the way God sees. So we are already in the right direction. We saw that over a period of time, something that is so trivial, nothing matters. In a story, what happens, nothing matters. That has become so big. And that is the biggest success of Maya, and Ravan is breeding in that story and that ignorance. We also said game changes in 1 second. You are seeing things differently in 1 second. And alaukic, that unearthly world, has become alive. And then what else can anyone ask for? Here we are talking about world of immortality. We are talking about world with the God. You are seeing your own immortality and your truth. That innately you are good. You don't have to pretend to be good. Innately, every soul is good. We are seeing that everyone is good. So with paras, what we are seeing, everyone is good. Everything is good. Because story, beforehand, it has got different plots and different characters. In Iron Age, you will see Iron Age plots. So no complaint about the story. And beyond, it is a supreme reality. Nothing inauspicious. with some concentration. We were starting one step. Let us experience the light of this supreme home. With eyes open, eyes closed, immerse yourselves in this light. We are talking golden red light of this home, gentle light. It is the expanse of light. And the soul that is conscious is in this light. And he doesn't need to think of anything else. He is experiencing light all around. We see this light in vivid colors. Aware that this region is a region of complete silence. Our yoga is with this light. We hold this image of the expanse of light. And whilst holding this experience, we add to this awareness that here is the home. This is the true home of all the souls. This home is timeless, exists forever. In this expanse are the living stars. For Paras, this is not a meditation. This is the home, and here is the family. This is the normal reality. For the soul that is conscious, it is normal to be a tiny point. Presence, to be immortal. It is normal. In this expanse of light, this is the home of sweet silence. Sweet because everyone is auspicious here. That's why there is no vibration, even of desire. No vibration of desire, disappointment. What remains is silent bliss and contentment, peace. Forever. Home of the family and the father. All in the image of tiny points, stars with halo. So also Father, he is always awake to this, forever in truth, always paras not. So for him, it is natural to be in this home. It is so obvious that everyone is safe, everyone is immortal, all are beyond harm, all are like him, and all belong to him. This is normal for him and obvious. For him, story as story, that is normal. He knows truth is immensely beautiful. On one hand, there is this supreme sky and family of noble souls, all lovely and loving. And on the other side is a extraordinary story, drama, and a PlayStation gift. He knows the truth is immensely beautiful forever, for everyone. As we continue on our journey, we remind ourselves of this beautiful truth. We remain anchored to this light of the sky, not lose sight of this. For all of our yoga experiences, concentration is precious. It is the whole game based on concentration. We all have concentration. It is like more we use, it grows. And that concentration is useful in anything you do. In this, we need to use that concentration at the right level, in the alaukik. So in this, the obstacle is the thoughts of the story. These are the obstacles. So if you want to think of the home, or even soul consciousness, any of the meditation practices, if at all distraction is from the story. All the 10 heads of Ravan have got different things to think about. So the nice thing to do right at the beginning, tell yourselves, just create this awareness that this is story. Let's create this awareness. It's a story. Nothing matters. Remember that is it a quotation? Quotation from the grandfather. So remember that nothing matters. Nothing is so intense serious, especially if it is a story. And you will visit, you will solve it, deal with it after 15 minutes. Give yourself the permission. It works. And even though we may know it, but suddenly ego, some petty things can become big. So even when various things, high drama is going on, you can put a full stop. This is a necessary skill for us, to be able to put a full stop and take your mind beyond. And then you are able to see things in different light, different clarity. It is not ego seeing it, it could be angel seeing it. But you are getting permission to go beyond. So that is the first good method. Another principle we have to remember, the first minute, give that first minute importance. Sometimes people think that meditation will gradually gather the momentum and will become intense after 1 hour. No, first minute has the best chance. That's why I use the best sight, best light, best intellect. Give importance to the first minute. And if you are in a certain space, certain experience, it is easier to maintain it. If starting position is waste, then you will find it difficult to come out of it. Yeah, we will come back to this subject, but let us hear some comments or any questions.
Yes, thank you. From yesterday at the end, you started to speak about seed. I think the seed and the context of the Murli about not watering every leaf, but watering the seed. And then you opened the subject about science and silence connected with the seed. But there was a request to understand this subject a bit more.
Sure. So we were speaking, there is a seed region and there is expansion. The whole physical world is expansion in every respect. There's time and space, the huge thing. Even see the body itself. This is just one body. We had taken many bodies. And the soul is just a point. You see the expansion that happens. So same happens for this larger world. Expansion in every respect. And there is the seed behind this in the seed region. Just as a physical tree, there is a seed and there is a tree. At the seed level, there is a code for everything that is going to happen to the tree, what kind of fruit it will have, whether it will have a good taste, whether it will be sour, whether the leaf will be of one shape. every detail is in the seed. In the DNA code is there. And it as if unwinds. It is revealed as it grows, it expresses through the tree. If it is someone, it is possible, someone clever, but doesn't know that there is a seed and there are roots. He is dealing with a tree, but the intellect is such, can't begin to understand that there is something beyond what he can see. So his focus is on the fruit. His focus is on the expansion. And he might think he should help the tree. And so he's watering the leaf and watering the fruits. He wants fruits, so he's watering the fruits. It needs a slightly different intellect, that even to get fruits, you have to water the seed and water the roots. You have to work at another level. You can't see it at all, but still it is, that is where your attention is required. Then you will get fruits for the whole season. Exactly the same thing happens at another level. So we said here is an expansion. Physical world is an expansion. And what is the science institution is doing? It is ignoring the seed and roots. It says, I can't see it, so why do I need to think of it even? Why are you wasting time to water the seed? We have to pluck fruits. We have to work at this level. This is, you can see it clearly. I believe on evidence. My style is evidence-based approach. So that is the way science approaches at the moment. So based upon the past, we are getting the fruit today and there will be fruit tomorrow. But if I keep ignoring the seed, then the fruit will run out. And then there will be no fruit. You then take out the raw fruit and you make the tree empty, dry. So this is the destiny of science. You get some fruit, but and root and the seed is ignored. One continues to become more and more unfortunate. Science can bring reward to us, because of the past, whatever has happened. But then the same science will bring misfortunes. Things will not add up, it will not work. So there are accidents and there are problems and bombs and destruction, but there is no fruit, there is no reward, even though science is there, because there is no nourishment at the seed. What silence? Silence, where it is not just ordinary silence, but if there is a knowledge-based, if your yogi life, what is the emphasis here? Silence is a poetic word we are using, but it's a yogi life. Here you understand the truth, you understand the full picture. You don't ignore the seed. On the contrary, you understand the great importance of the seed. And you want to nourish the seed, see that it is powerful, good quality seed. And you want to pay attention there, nourish, water the seed. Then fruit is guaranteed. You don't worry about the fruit. Fruit will continue to come. Some seeds bring fruit for years and years. For decades, generations continue to receive the fruit. Same happens here. Here is such a time, this present time, confluence age, when you understand this whole game, understand the options. So Baba uses this language. Don't even if you get fruit, don't get distracted. Renunciation of renunciation. This is a good season to work at the seed level. Fruit will continue to come. There is a whole cycle, the rest of the cycle. At every level, one becomes lucky. Something becomes instrument, cause, but one is lucky throughout the cycle. If the seed is ignored, you may have clever gadgets, but one becomes unlucky. So I hope it is, I know yesterday we touched it briefly, but subject of seed is important.
Yes, it feels like the essence of being benefactor, because it's the highest karma to nourish the seed, and then the forces of auspicious forces of benefit will be the result for the self, and also a sort of a benefit to others. Really, this whole movement is making it easy for others. How can I give water to the seed in a practical way and not waste my time in giving water to life in the drama? That's a question that came.
Yeah, good. This is where the big slogan that we have, be yogi, be holy. Holy and yogi. And implied, holy, you stop Ravan, then you are holy. Ravan is unholy. And yogi, if you are paying attention to the God's world, then you are yogi. So let me come to our wonderful board. Whiteboard. And you also like this. Whole game is around this. Appears very innocent, our journey, our life is very simple. But what has happened? 100% of sorrows of the world are because of this box. 100% of vices are because of this box. 100% of ego and desperations. This little physical world creates all the chaos that exists. Why? Because the 10 heads of Ravan, their action, their field of action is here. I'm just representing this line, represents head of Ravan. Different heads of Ravan, they are engaged in this, caught in this. One head is interested in food, one head is interested in some another person, one head got into job. But in the story, it has become so big for him. He sort of gets angry about it, is bothered about thinking about it. It is all Ravan. And as we are seeing, Ravan is not interested in the seed. Ravan is into expansion. Ravan is embodiment of ignorance. Embodiment. That's why all other complications. Ravan's form is sad, bad, mad. But I would say mad is first, Ravan's form. So to get caught in this story is to such a level is extreme ignorance. but it appears normal. Everyone is in it, and everyone is drowning in it. So no one is doing anything. This is the situation. Now, this present world, everyone is in this, and no one is questioning it. There are academics, and there are clever people in the world, and United Nations, and clever governments. But no one has got anything to do with this. They are sort of, that's why it is Ravan's kingdom, very stable Ravan's kingdom. So here we are challenging this Ravan's kingdom, starting with ourselves. We have to remove Ravan. This is what our challenge is. World benefit is only if the demon is removed, 10-headed monster, starting with myself. And so that is the holy part, be holy. And what is our method? Stop supplies. Don't cooperate with Ravan. Gandhi's approach was of non-violence, but they had strategy. Strategy is non-cooperation. If you don't agree with some system, if you don't agree with some policies, don't cooperate. And he encouraged everyone else not to cooperate. So here, if you understand, here is a demon, how absurd to cooperate with him. So don't give him, say if there is a terrorist, will you give him one bullet? Will you give him a gun? Will you give him a bomber? So here you take a very clear line that you don't want to cooperate with Ravan. Feel very happy about it. Any head of Ravan, his obsessions, his desires, his needs, you stop. And take steps, very clear steps. Big heads, they have to go out first. More the obsession, bigger the Ravan, so it has to be stopped. So that is that side. And on the other side, you want to use the best intellect and come in your true home. Here is, we are talking about big prize, as if you have won a biggest lottery prize, where there is truth, where there is immortality, where there is company of God and love from God. People are willing to make so much effort to just get a vision of God. And here, love from God, company of God, then you are discovering true self, angelic family. It is a region of your perfection. And this is right in front of us, in front of each one of us. And so it is there. So why are we spending our time drowning in this story when this is there? So we have to use the best sight, best intellect, experience it as much as possible, as long as possible. More you are keeping your mind busy with this, Ravan cannot use your mind either. Mind is very important for Ravan, because that is itself a nourishment for 10 heads of Ravan. They can keep thinking about various junk. It appears very innocent, but it is feeding different heads there. So when you are keeping your mind busy with the sky, with experiences, there may be experiences, what we mentioned just now, sometimes just silence of the home, the light of the home, eternity of the home, Father in the home. You are seeing what he experiences, what he knows. You are creating time for that. More you are doing this, that will only become better, become more refined. it will grow. This is our process and approach. We'll come to this again in some detail, but take this. You might like to add anything so far. Remember this slogan: be holy, be yogi.
I like mind mapping or using images. So would you say like even writing down some of these ideas as a tool to expand on them either through drawing or writing or a poem? It's like a churning. Would you say that is
Yeah, excellent. Definitely.
making a creativity out of it, because then you're engaged there and it holds you there. Question: when you were saying to stop the supply of Ravan, in other words, you could say stop entertaining those thoughts. Different way of putting it.
And stop the entertaining thoughts. Different heads of the.
Stop entertaining those thoughts and entertain different thoughts.
That is part of it, but also to know that Ravan needs gross things, and Ravan needs thoughts also, very precious for him. For example, we give the example, one head of Ravan needs cigarettes. He needs cigarettes, and also he needs to think about cigarettes. So all of that feeds that head of Ravan. So you are saying this has to go, this. And then 1 week passes and you find that whole department has stopped. You don't need those thoughts, and your mind is freer, one demon less in the system. In this, especially, pay attention to the head of Ravan that deals with lust. Even though, it may be not there, you might have stopped the department of lust. But Baba sometimes says, big vice is gone, but see the progeny. Sometimes this smaller, department is kept open. Some kind of waste thoughts connected with this. The other day we were saying films. Why are we avoiding this whole interest in films? Because it can keep some of these Ravan's hates, especially hates dealing with lust, alive. And for a long period of time, good to stop anything that might feed Ravan's hates dealing with lust. Be very strict with this, because once Ravan is stopped, then you are allowed to experience this kind. Big head of Ravan will not allow you to experience this big wonder. We are talking here, biggest prize that is right in front of everyone. And what prevents why they are not experiencing it? It is just because of Ravan. Ravan gives golden deer, Ravan gives some happiness, but you aren't left with Ravan. And Ravan is a beggar. Bigger the Ravan, he is a beggar. He forever feels he is a victim. So all the dictators of history as well as of the present time, see their behavior. It is just because Ravan has got bigger. Longer they are in power, this Ravan gets bigger, and they can be more, criminal in their behavior, because they themselves feel they are victims. Ravan constantly, and a victim constantly thinks of the negative. They looks for dangers. And because the Ravan, he's a slave. He's so dependent on so many things. And the Ravan, we are talking about demon. Take sorrow, give sorrow. So we are talking about beggar mindset, victim mindset, slave mindset, and a demon mindset. We support it ourselves. No one else can do this for us. We are allowing. As we allow Ravan, cooperate with Ravan, we are as if choosing a mindset that is a beggar and mindset of a victim. These are the lowest denominations in any society. Understand? Beggar, what is in any society? There's a beggar, victim, slave, and demon. And someone chooses to have that mindset. That's why it is, if we are to want to give benefit, some friend of yours, your relation, you want to give them the benefit, the highest thing you can do is free them from their own beggar and from their own victim, free them from that slave mind, free them from the demon. That's the biggest thing you can offer to anyone. And then same thing applies to ourselves. Free ourselves from all this. And that's why this formula. And the formula is don't cooperate with. Start with big heads of Ravan. Someone said, I want to remove 7 heads, but keep 3 heads. What will you answer? So she said, I want to remove 7 heads, but is it okay if I keep 3 heads of Ravan?
No, that's one answer.
Is that all? What is your reason?
It will be like poison, misunderstanding. Each head gives rebirth to another. It's not possible. One is still influenced by Ravan. There would be alloy.
Yeah, good, very good. The dynamics is those 3 heads that you are talking about. That is your main Ravan. They are the big heads, and those big heads have to be removed first. And they definitely have to be. That is what will free you from this illness, Ravan illness. And so your positioning is why does anyone want to keep any demon anyway? You want to remove 7 heads. Why do you want to keep any? Even a small head, big head. If say someone says there is a robber, will you say, I will remove 4 robbers and keep 1 robber? Will you say this? But one robber will say this. The big robber will say, I will remove the other robbers and I will stay here. So when the Ravan is taking a decision, he will say, I will remove the 7 heads. Let us create a compromise. But I will keep the 3 heads here. No, your position is zero tolerance to Ravan. Ravan has to be out. Just this position, that's all. Once we understand the game, it's a position. Because you are going for a big prize. And this prize is alaukic. We are understanding we ourselves are alaukic, unearthly. This is like a big thing to understand. We are so conditioned to believe we are gross body and that is temporary. But right now here, we are souls. It is literally means you, me, we are invisible. Right now, Prashant is talking and all that is, it appears as if Prashant is the soul. No, Prashant is part of the story. And the one who is observing is the invisible soul. He's observing this. He's not even an extension of Prashant. He's different completely. It is good for us to use for us to grasp this. Mary acting as Cinderella. Mary is different. Cinderella is different. Mary may be acting as a camel in a drama. Camel is completely different. Camel may be speaking about some spiritual matters, talking about God, but that is a dramatics. And Mary is completely different to a camel drama. Fun, more you start playing with this, you got a huge thing to experience here. But foundation, once you get the basics right, be holy, be yogi. Yes, we will have some other comments.
It's always nice to have a slogan, so it's appreciated. This image of the robber, it's like the feeling of if there's a little emptiness and you feel I just want some stimulation, I need to go to social media or speak to someone or eat something, or that feeling that can come. And the feeling is like, if you spot it, then don't make the action based on the emptiness, which is the victim and the beggar and the slave that you highlighted. So it's like change the posture, change the perspective. If you spot Ravan, don't continue in it. And that strictness is so empowering, I feel, for the self. So a question that came, do we as individual souls create patterns of behavior, in other words, karma, each time we reincarnate? And do we take that to our next life in the drama world?
Yes, the behavior is one aspect, but something deeper than the behavior are the identities. When we draw these images, we show that within these are different identities created. You remember, I certainly encourage those who have not attended all the sessions to definitely revise some of the basic 10 sessions, and some of this area. So each of this identity has got this behavior pattern with it. Otherwise our sanskaras and behavior patterns and tendencies, it is very different, but they all are coming from one source. This has one pattern of sanskaras, behavior, this has another, as if this is the foundation. And we want to remove them. And how do we remove them? There has to be replacement. Without replacement, we can't remove anything. If I don't bring in soul awareness, they will just get replaced with another ego. So what you are doing here is bringing in soul awareness. And more you bring in light, darkness goes, and with the darkness, all these different old tendencies also go. Otherwise, these identities go from one life to the other life. It is almost like if someone dies, if I was to die today, whatever is the blueprint here, that will go with me in the next life. And depending upon the situations, environment, it will express. So same tendencies will not come, but this ego will express itself given the new environment, new situation.
Thank you for the revision. Yes, clear. So there aren't any other questions right now.
Sure.
No, there is one. When you say experience, what does it mean? Is it the feelings within the soul?
Experience. Yes, feelings also part of the experience. But yes, we want the deeper experience. Our heart has to be involved in this. The encouragement for you to ask more questions for Sister Jayanti also. It will be good. Bring difficult questions. Save the difficult questions for later.
This may be a good moment if you want to give a reflection and just a pause so we can change translators.
Sure.
So if you want to give a short drill.
Yeah. One thing we had mentioned earlier, and what we had mentioned, to experience the light of the home. It has such a beautiful power. If you do this with concentration, it sort of resets the mind. But otherwise, mind, there are some background noise of some kind. The moment you come in that background noise stops. So let us experiment with this, with eyes open, eyes closed. Nothing else. But the aim is to hold, experience the color and the light of the Supreme Home in silence. I won't be speaking any thoughts. Thank you. I'll just touch one more aspect before we go to the rooms. In those who have heard the Murli of today, one nice image. Someone has got wealth for, say, food, but if it is in the locker, it is all locked. You are quite happy that you got wealth, you got food, but you're not using it. You are hungry. Then that is not very clever. If you got food, you can use it for yourself, use it for others. In the same way, physical wealth. Baba was saying, knowledge is also just like this. Knowledge is a wealth, but don't keep it just in the locker. It is to be used, to be experienced. Baba was saying even speaking knowledge is at a superficial level. One is understanding it and one is speaking also. Even this is not using it. To use it means to go in the depth of it, understand spiritual knowledge as the wonder within it. Experience the raz, significance, secret behind. End result of this, if it is something really useful, anything, you should see the fruit, you should see the results. Just like say if there is some medical, some pill, you think this is really good, but let us see the results. Does it cure the person? So here, every point of knowledge has the power to gain victory. It has power to free you from the victim and the demon and sorrow and whole department. It help you discover the noble and the angel. If you are freed from all this, you discover your original personality, that is angel. Everything else comes with it. It has power to help you discover the seed, and it has its karma, and it will bring the reward. So Baba was saying, put into practice, experience. So for us, for the next, this is life, a confluence age. This journey, spiritual journey, not to be just nice. I understood something, but Baba is saying you have to put into practice. Like that, as an example, the word soul. Many people might agree with the soul. They say they believe there is a soul. Some might write books on the soul also, so convinced. So that is all good. And God is God just because He is a soul. But there is a big difference. Many write books on the soul also, and God, He becomes God just because of the soul. What's the difference? He understood the wonder, understood the immortality of the soul, experienced the soul, understood that he is beyond harm, and he doesn't need to create any bondage anywhere. They experienced the bliss of this freedom and became the ocean of bliss and love and wisdom and knowledge also. Once you are free, you understand what this whole thing is about, what everyone else is, but also you understood this whole physical world. For this soul that is conscious, it is extra. Whether it is you call it story or you call it drama, it is extra. He experienced the wonder of this physical world for what it is. You understand what is the illness. He is able to give this huge benefit to the world, upliftment of the world, because just he remains soul conscious. He could see what has happened to everyone else. He could see the contrast. There are not many problems. It's just the one problem of the whole world. They are not soul conscious. That they have moved away from what is truth. So same thing applies. We say remember God. There is no tradition of worshipping God or praying to God, but know what He knows and experience what He experiences. And He wants us to become like Him because we are like Him. And that's why it is easy for us to drop everything else and become like Him. Same aspect to applies to different areas of knowledge. It says, see, don't stay at a superficial level. Go in the ras, understand the significance and experience. Then you are using the knowledge and not just keeping it in the locker. Maybe, if there is any other comments. I saw some hands were raised at one point.
That's for translation.
Uh-huh.
There are a couple of questions that have come up, so if you're happy to take them before we have a short break with rooms.
Sure.
From the Italian group, that experience where there's a situation of not being able to stop anxious thoughts until they decided to get out of that situation of work, and then the anxious thoughts disappeared and happiness returned. Do you have any comments on this?
Sure. Ultimately, we should be prepared to be in any drama situation and not be troubled. We need to face destruction ultimately and not be troubled. That is the final test for all of us. So the good attitude, spiritual attitude, is not to come out of the so-called difficult situation in the first second, but try the weapons, spiritual weapons you got, so that you can be in that situation and see it in a new way, build new links and new sanskars. How you learn something, use the opportunity for learning rather than quick escape. And of course, if I escape, there is no problem and there is peace. But I lost the chance. Sarah, want to add anything to this?
The question that came was, when do you know when to come out? Because sometimes the situation might be feeding your Ravan, or if we need to understand something better, we can do some part of learning, but is there a time when it is better to step back? Or
we all know whether it is feeding Ravan or not, but internally you are saying, is there something for me to learn here? Is there opportunity to grow? If it is not, you come out.
there's no point in just staying there as a tolerance if there's no learning happening.
Yeah.
Destruction means transformation. A question further to that.
Destruction means that the drama episode will end. That is, every episode comes to an end. But this final scene of the drama is aimed to remove all my attachments. All the ego, they have to be dismantled. So situations will come to dismantle my attachments and ego. So we have to be prepared for anything. If I'm watching a film And if I know it is a film, I know it, I am not harmed, then I should be not so feeble-hearted that any noise or some dragon comes on the stage, I want to go to the exit. If I'm watching a film, that film there can be bombs and fire and dragons and King Kong. You watch and you come out of the film when the film finishes. You should be using your attitude, knowledge, to see the film as a film.
Feels like this is what being a master of time is, to be free from the film, not subservient. And maybe a quick question before we take a break. You mentioned if Ravan is there, we can't reach the sky. So we start to remove the heads of Ravan, then how easily can one start touching the sky?
Yes, we both go parallel. You continue to create time. We use the language ego bypass. Ego bypass. So what happens when you are using paras during those moments, as if Ravan is under anesthesia? The moment you say this whole story is story, it is small and it has no power. Ravan shrinks temporarily, but it shrinks. That helps you to come on this side and experience. Let me use this. Experience this home. So it gets stronger, deeper. But if Ravan's heads go, the depth of these experiences become another level. The Ravan bypass and ego bypass is good. That is necessary for us to go beyond. But if these heads are removed, then the depth, the experiences, richness, that becomes different. The sky becomes alive.
Very interesting. Maybe in another session we could understand more deeply about the bypass. At the moment, we could maybe create time for discussion. If you have a direction or a question that you would like to give for the rooms.
It will be good to discuss on how to shift this treasure of knowledge, how to change it from locker into practice. What does it mean? Not just have knowledge in the intellect, but to put it into practice and gain victory.
How to shift from knowing knowledge or just having it in the locker to putting it into practice and gaining victory. That's great. We'll have around 15 minutes, and then after the break, we'll be warmly welcoming Sister Genti joining today from London. So have a really good discussion, and Heather will be helping if you need assistance in the rooms. So see you back very soon. Thank you. So very warm welcome back, and just a note to Heather, it looks like Joanna is free to take over translation. And I hope the room discussion was fruitful. Feel free to share your insights in the chat. And it's a great pleasure to be welcoming and introducing Sister Genti, who's connecting with us today from London. and European Director of Brahma Kumaris, for those who haven't met before. And we've asked her to share a few thoughts on the subject of the retreat, but of course, many related subjects, as we have already seen this weekend. And there'll be a chance for some questions, so feel free to share in the chat. And so, yeah, we'd like to, and gentlemen, if you wanted to start with some silence, feel free. Very warm welcome from the Cambridge family.
Thank you. Om Shanti. Yes, let's begin with a few moments of silence. Om Shanti. I know that you've been looking at the theme of World Benefactor, and usually this is a title that's given to God, and yet every child wants to become like the Father. At least that was true in the olden days. I don't know how true it is anymore today. Things have changed around so drastically in the world now. But certainly on the spiritual path, the Father wants us to become like him, and the children want to become like the Father. And so as is the Father's task, so the children's task also. And so in terms of benefit, Baba would say, firstly, be the benefactor for yourself. And so how can I do that? How can I ensure that I'm constantly taking benefit? And so a very simple thing to be aware of is the timetable that Baba has given us. The early morning hours for meditation, and then spiritual study, and then through the day practicing those ideas. And then in the evening, again, it's a good time for the angels to travel across the world and share good vibrations. So Baba asks us to have evening meditation. And then at night, before you sleep, again, time to do an audit for the self. How did I do today? And whatever changes I need to make, to be aware of those, and to end the day with meditation. So if I'm serious about spiritual development, then this timetable is the one that Baba has set that's going to give me maximum benefit. We think that when we come to learn to meditate, maybe it's going to take us a week or a month or however long it is, and then I can carry on my own. And yes, you can. It's absolutely true. But it's much, much more difficult to do it on my own. If I'm connected with a family, a community, that makes a big difference. But most of all, I need to continually study every day. The example that Baba always used to give us is how if you have an earthenware lamp, those original ones that had a little homemade wick with cotton wool and some oil in it, the oil needed to be topped up every single day, or maybe many times a day, depending on the size. And so this flame, the soul that's now been ignited, I've seen the light, I've experienced some things, but I'm only starting my journey. And I may have had a long-term experience in terms of my worldly life. I've had many years of experience maybe, and many different things that I've gone through in my life. All of that has been teaching me. But my journey on the path of spirituality is different. And since the time I recognized Shiv Baba and I became Shiv Baba's child, from that moment on, a new life began, my second life. This is why they speak about the rebirth in Christianity, also born again, born once more. And so let me be able to experience that new life of mine. And in terms of that new life, now I'm also a student. Doesn't matter whether I'm a PhD or a professor or anything else, but now I'm God's student, not only God's child, but God's student also. And so in order to be able to benefit myself, my basic foundation of meditation and study needs to happen absolutely. And in that awareness where I am taking benefit for myself, then in that state, then yes, I'm going to have a very different attitude to the world. And the consciousness that has now come about of soul consciousness, of spirituality, the understanding of seeing others as souls, the understanding of karma philosophy, the morning session that I have, whether it's online with others or whether it's studying by myself, or whether in times in the future, I'll be able to actually meet with a group. But whatever it is, my spiritual study is the foundation, which means then that my compass has been reset to true north. And through the day, especially if I'm practicing traffic control through the day, I'm not sure if you've come across this idea of stopping the traffic in the mind and having just a few moments of silence. Well, when I start practicing traffic control, then every hour on the hour, just 3 minutes, it's extremely valuable to do that. But also within that, I can incorporate a revision, very quick revision in my mind of the things that Baba told me this morning. And that's going to keep it fresh and alive for me through the whole day. And so this timetable is really one that brings benefit to me, and not just in terms of using my time well, that definitely, but also on another level, there's the aspect that because the compass has been tuned again to true north, the pointers that Baba's given me in the morning are going to be very valuable guidance through the day. And so in any given situation, I quickly do a recheck. What did Baba say about this? And most times you'll find that even if Baba didn't say anything about it today, probably the day before or the day before, Baba did say something about it. And it'll give me very clear guidance of the direction I need to take. So rather than go down a slippery slope, which afterwards I realized was not right, I've lost time, I've lost energy, and maybe I've made a few mistakes along the way. And so the protection that I experienced through this timetable and that morning time devoted to spiritual study is not only of benefit for meditation, but it's of benefit for my life of action. So very, very important. And of course, this is also then the practice by which we can become karma yogis. We are doing the karma, fulfilling the responsibility that we need to, but we're also having yoga at the same time. In between from time to time is fine. But a lot of the time, my attention is going in a few different places altogether. When you're driving, you're not just thinking about the traffic lights or the speed. You're also thinking about many other things. You're listening to music, you're listening to an MP3 with some talks on it, all sorts of things. You're having a conversation with people in the car. So can I use that time when I'm driving to do the karma, but yet also to be in silent communication with Baba? So using my time through the day in the right way, according to Baba's guidance and directions, is definitely a way of bringing benefit to myself. But the other thing very much connected with this, what is my consciousness through the day? Am I able to stay conscious of truth, the spiritual laws, and Baba? And if I am, I'm bringing benefit to myself, because my attitude will be the way it needs to be. Otherwise, we come to a situation with an attitude that's from the past somewhere, nothing of the present moment, but definitely something from the past is coming in. I'm colored by that. I'm not able to discern and evaluate the situation as it is in reality. I'm colored, I'm influenced by things that have happened in the past, all the baggage that I carry from the past. Never mind what the other person brings into that mix, but just looking at myself. And so if I'm aware of Baba's pointers, then I let go of the baggage from the past and I walk into this new situation with a new attitude, very open, detached and loving. Neither am I attached, nor am I in a state of rejection. So I'm detached, but I'm loving at the same time. And so holding this new attitude and keeping this in my vision is definitely going to make life much sweeter, because whatever is my input, that's going to determine the output. And so Baba's Murali in the morning, guiding me gently through the day, is extremely valuable. I know that God is my benefactor. I'm learning to be a benefactor to myself. And that means understanding the law of karma. Why do I need to add further baggage to the past that I already carry? With yoga, I'm trying to settle the accounts of the past, and I don't want to have any further add-on. I want to settle, I want to finish. And so can I settle that? And can I then say, what good karma can I do? And so my attitude and the understanding of karma, and I'm using whatever time I have for the best possible purpose, that of helping God in the task of creating a better world for all, is a huge task. And the amazing fortune we have is that we're being invited to participate in this huge task. You know, if somebody has an exciting project, you say, I'd love to be part of it. Well, can you imagine a more exciting project than this? God saying, I'm here to transform your world because you've created a mess. And so I want to help you sort it out and put it right once more. And so can I bring benefit to myself by doing good karma? Thoughts, words, actions, my time, my energy, my money, my resources, all being directed in a worthwhile way for the upliftment of the world, not just me and my country, but the whole wide world, because God is the parent of the whole world. So an attitude of benefit, let me give benefit in some way or another through some form of service, using the talents and skills that I have. And whatever scene of drama comes in front of me, can I take that also as being benevolent? not so easy. When it comes to keeping a timetable, yes, I can do it. I can manage most of that. When it comes to right attitude, I'm in charge of my own mind. And so, yes, I can create the right attitude. But when it comes to drama, and there are situations and events and people who come in and they want to do things differently, or drama is making things happen in a very different way, can I always say, I'm taking benefit. There is benefit in this. It's not such an easy thing to remember all the time. And there'll be lots of different people saying, no, it shouldn't be like this, it should be like this. And so you've got all that listening that you have to do. But then finally, the decision is mine to go deep inside and say, what is the signal that drama is giving me? And knowing that drama is always benevolent, always beneficial, what is the door that's opening that I can now walk through? And definitely, having walked through that door, I face whatever consequences may come of this. But at that moment also, I know that drama is beneficial. Drama is wonderful. And Baba would say, drama is sweet. So don't complain about my child to me. God is perfect, and his first creation, the whole story of the world, that is perfect. And within that story comes Maya, illusion, and Ravan, the devil, but all of that is perfect too. Why? Because every action that happened through the copper and silver age pushed us through to the point where we came to our lowest. And at that moment we said, where are you, God? If you're there, show me. And God manifests himself in many, many different ways. Maybe not as an incarnation in front of me, but doors and windows open, cooperation begins, and that constant flow of good energy, everybody's thoughts reaching God, and I'm there within that circle, and I'm taking benefit, always, always benefit in whatever it is that drama proposes. And so I need to be very flexible. I need to adjust and mold and understand what's going on and what the significance of each aspect is. And when I can say sweet drama, not 1 month after an incident happened, not 1 day after an incident happened, the incident is unfolding and it's not what I would have anticipated. But can I put a break and not allow waste thoughts to flow? And then, yes, the good omens can do the work. And yes, then the transformation that needs to happen can happen. So I have to be a benefactor to myself. I have to appreciate how God is my benefactor and is constantly available and is giving me the opportunity to help in his task to create my fortune, but also to see drama as the big benefactor, always giving me opportunities, always showing me new things that I could do. And so when I have this awareness of benefit, 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 then my whole day is filled with gratitude and love, just experiencing benefit. And so let me stop here and see if there are questions or any comments.
Thank you on behalf of everyone. I often notice that you answer questions without realizing it, actually. So you touched on the timetable. That was one question I think is being made very clear. Also, you touched on karma, and there's a question, and the brother said he would still like, even though you actually answered it partially with this new attitude, The question is, how do we as individual souls cleanse ourselves from the karmas we have inherited from our past lives? I don't know if you want to add anything to this question.
There are two ways that we can settle karma. One is through the power of yoga, and that is the most important way, but also doing lots and lots and lots of good karma. And so all of us come with a huge amount of baggage from the past. We don't know what we did, but we can see it in the signs of our sanskars. We can see it in situations that arise in front of us that weren't of our making now, but it seems to be carried over. And so at this moment now, no blame, no complaints, but let me get on with the job of yoga to settle. And secondly, to be able to do good karma at every opportunity, which means all the time, because whatever it is I'm doing, I can be sharing peaceful vibrations with others in the home. I can be sending good thoughts to people out there who need help, but also just light to the world. And so as I do things that don't require my intellect, that's a great time for Mansa Seva, serving through the mind, serving through good vibrations.
Thank you very much. Yes, that was very helpful. And another question you actually also answered in a way when the subject of the drama is the big benefactor. In the question, a specific question here, what is it that you are putting in the spotlight at this time as we are seeing a shift in the organization of the three daddies who have left, Daddy Janki, Daddy Gosa, especially? Obviously there's benefit in everything, as you've already mentioned, but if there's anything specific you'd like to add. Thank you.
Every organization goes through changes, and we were very, very lucky that Baba chose very young people who could carry on holding the threads of the organization for the next 80 plus years. I mean, the leadership that Baba chose was incredible. Daddy Prakashmani was 14, Daddy Gulzar was 9 when she came, Daddy Janki was a bit older, 21, but all of them, and of course, Daddy Janki then carrying on till 104. So 83 years, we've been able to have continuity in our leadership in terms of those souls who are closest to Baba. And so those who are closest to Baba carried the mantle, and then those souls, the dadis, trained many, 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 many others across the world, including many, many teachers in the UK. Most of the teachers in the UK would say that, yes, they had very particular personal relationship with Dadi, in which it was friend and mentor and guide, and the one who had nothing but good wishes for them. And so there's a whole different level of leadership in terms of the world outside India. And in terms of India, there's a pretty good system in which our constitution says that it'll be the chief, and then the additional chief becomes the chief. And so Dadi Gulzar passed away, but it was Dadi Ratan Moini who was the additional chief. And here she is now as the chief of the organization. But in a couple of days, you'll be hearing the announcements about who the others are who support Dadi Ratan Moini. And you'll probably find that these are the people who also took sustenance from Brahma Baba from the 50s. And so from the 50s through to the end of the 60s, it was quite a long period of time they had with Brahma Baba. And after that, they also had time with the dadis. And so there's a natural progression that's been happening. And so from Baba to the dadis, from the dadis to others, and now in a sense, it's a turn of the others to carry on with things. So people used to say, but you don't have any heritage system. You haven't sorted that out. And it's it's a natural system. You don't have to put it on paper as such, but this is what we are actually seeing. And so in a few days, you'll hear the names of the people who the management committee would have agreed, who would then be the people who are leading the organization. But of course, this is all on the external level. Still, if you speak to anyone who's been with Baba, they would say, Baba is in charge. In fact, there was a very lovely incident in which a couple of us were sitting with Avyakt Baba, and Baba said to us, you don't need to worry about anything because Baba is in charge. Baba said it very naturally, very graciously, and took away the whole burden from us. Baba is in charge. And so, yes, the organization that Baba created on the physical level, that continues to function spiritually and physically, but it's definitely Baba in charge.
That makes lots of sense, and it was a beautiful way to maybe close. I know we've come to time. More questions have come in, but we can maybe keep them and create another opportunity, or work also with Prashant on that. So thanks so much for the sharing and connection with the organization, but also with the one behind and the one who is really pulling this Avyakt and helping us become free and playing a different game. I don't know if you would like to share some more silence with us, and we will take the benefit of this gathering together.
Sure. Thank you to Brother Prashant for the invitation, and to Sarah for holding this particular session together. So let's have a few moments of silence. Om Shanti, and thank you to all of you for your precious time. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Be nice if you would like to come into camera and give a wave, and hopefully you have this gallery view option. So nice to see all of you, and feel this power of the gathering we can manage on Zoom.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Gentiben, and many thanks for creating time. Very inspiring. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
And we would like to create this short time to give a special thanks to the translation team, because it is quite a thing, and we all really appreciate it, and also the co-hosting team, always incognito. And we usually create time just to share a little bit about the next retreat, and that will be in 3 weeks' time on the subject of World Benefactor. No, this one, the subject of a celestial celebration. So it's a nice continuum, and that will be 18th to 20th of June, 2 to 4 p.m. UK time. And we'll finish with a song. But before that, I would just like to ask Prashant if you would like to share a few thoughts before we close.
Thank you for creating time for last 3 days. Greatly appreciate. And as there was mentioned by Jayanti Ben, it is like the family. This is a feeling, and enjoy the next part of the journey. Our program is one bird flies, second bird flies, the whole flock flies. So the big world benefit starts by first one bird flying. So each one of us have got this beautiful potential. Good luck.
Thank you. And this image always feels like a powerful and also inevitable upliftment of the family. So appreciation. Recording link is in the chat, and also extra questions which were not answered from yesterday have been recorded, and from today we will record another extra Q&A. Thanks once again, and I look forward to connecting again soon. Goodbye from Cambridge and Om Shanti.
There'll be more to this life we call mine than a journey through space or a storyline. More to life than the body can sense, than the mind can conclude from experience. This who we are, begin with breath, depend on form, or end with death. Strip away these roles, these names, and tell me what remains, and who you really are, who you really are. Measure success by the things we accrue, or the bonds that we form, or the deeds we do. But these too shall pass. As hard as we try to hold on to form, form will die. But inherent in this dance of form is the chance to see what's yet unborn. Choice to throw this chance away and be caught up in the play of who we think we are, who we think we are. This is your lifetime. It could end at any time. Where is your attention? Where is your prayer? Where is your song? In a fortunate life comes a call to be free from the cycle of bondage, misidentity. To wake from the dream and finally realize the truth of one's being before the body dies. So before the final scene is past, see the screen on which it's cast. See what's seen.